Since the time this video was recorded, a new version of Swift has been released, Swift 1.2, and this has been released with Xcode 6.3. What this means is some of the code in this course has changed slightly since the time that this course was recorded. The purpose of this video is just to let you know what some of those changes are and how to get around fixing bugs. In this course, Lecture 33 contains the course files. In order to access these course files, you need to come up to View Resources, and you'll notice two sets of files here. The first one, which is called version 1, is the original version which is in Swift 1.1. This bottom one here, which is called Swift 102, is of course Swift version 1.2. So you can ignore the first download completely if you want to work in a Swift 1.2 environment and just download the second one. If you would like to learn about the changes between Swift 1.1 and 1.2, there's a great post on raywenderlich.com that outlines all of the main changes. Next up, we're going to have a look at fixing bugs in the existing project if you've already started doing this course and in Swift.1 and updated to Swift.2, or you have completed the course and would simply like to update your project to be the latest version of Swift. The main things we're going to be looking at is this upcast and downcast, which have slightly changed the way that you'll be casting your types. Another thing that will come up is sets, which can be used instead of NSSet. This will be important when we get to updating the controls, because the previous methods have changed slightly. And that'll be the most part of the issues that we're going to fix for this project. Okay, so we load up the project, hit build and run, and straight away we're getting all these errors. So luckily we can work through and automatically fix a lot of these errors. However, there are some issues with the automatic fixer, which means that extra characters might be added in or other things that actually make the problem worse than it previously was. So we're going to have a look at that too. So starting off, using a target for the Mac, and then after that we'll use the iOS target. So starting with the first errors, which are in layer.swift, when I click this red sign, it'll give me a few options normally, and because Swift is expecting this as a migration issue, it has this fix-it solution, which will replace as with as exclamation mark, and this is a forced downcast. And the vast majority of the issues here will be this issue, so we can go through and fix all of those. Now here you can see the issue where the automatic fix doesn't quite work as expected. You can see in the middle of this line it's added as exclamation mark where it shouldn't have added it. It should have added it over here where it has as string. So I'm just going to take that out and fix it manually. So I'm just coming through and hitting fix it. Pretty much all of these are the exact same issue. Now there's been some changes for NS string in Swift, whereas it's no longer equal to string. So what we need to do here is explicitly convert this NS string to string. And when you run out of errors, just hit build and run again, and it'll probably find a heap more. So just going to continue working through these. And just about every case, the fix-it will sort out the problem for me. But it is important to have a look at each one in detail to make sure that you're not making the problem worse for yourself. The more you do this, the better you'll get at it as well. So you'll start to detect where these problems are, and even when you're writing Swift code, you'll start putting in the right syntax before you even think about it. So migrating an old project is a great way to learn how to handle updates in the language. Okay, after you finish doing that, make sure you build and run and test that the game still performs as it should and that there are no errors. Because migrating from Swift 1.1 to 1.2 is a pretty significant change, it may introduce new bugs or other problems in your code, so I'd really recommend playing through the entire game from start to end again to make sure all the problems are actually fixed and that new problems haven't arisen. Now, after you finish doing Mac, make sure to switch it to an iPhone simulator and go build and run again, and we get a few more errors. So here you can see where this NS set has changed to a new Swift set. So if I type in set of NS object, and that's all we need. So I'm going to copy that down for all of these ones, and that's now fixed. And our last issue is just another typecast. So okay, build and run. Check that everything works fine on the simulator. Remember on iOS to always test it on the device as well, as it will run much differently to how it runs on the simulator. And there you go, your project is all updated for Swift 1.2. If you're only just working through this tutorial now, you'll find some of the videos haven't been updated for Swift 1.2. And that's simply because the changes are not significant enough to warrant it. But you'll know when you see that error now that you need to put in that exclamation mark to downcast something, or you can even just type it out exactly how it is done in the tutorial, and then that little fix it icon will come up, and you'll know that you can fix it for Swift 1.2. If in the future Swift 1.3 or later brings in much bigger changes, then these videos will be redone for your convenience.